Hey there, everybody. It is Coach Action Jackson, and this is another episode of Client Success Stories. I've got Alex here, and I'm really excited to speak with him because, of course, he crushed the program, as always. 18 pounds, 11% body fat. He added on 4 pounds of lean mass, and he also took 3 inches off of his waist. An incredible job. He is now inducted into the Action Jackson Fitness Hall of Fame. So, Alex, welcome, and why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, thank you, Coach. I'm Alex. I come from Utah, the area of Utah, and I'm just in Texas now. And I'm a medical professional, and I've just really enjoyed and been grateful for the opportunity to be able to work with you alongside you via tonal and virtually. And it's been an amazing journey. I've learned a lot.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to you, not just because obviously you got incredible results. You got the no pack, the six pack, the classic unbelievable transformation physically, but more importantly, there's been a lot of mental transformations. And the first one is that you were very skeptical when we first chatted. You were not only skeptical because you had tried other things in the past that hadn't worked, but you were also, I think, had a lot of like mindset limitations and limiting beliefs around stuff. That I don't know if this can work for me. I don't know if my body can change. Maybe I just have bad genetics. Like a lot of these beliefs that a lot of people walk around with. So why don't we start there? First and foremost, where did the skepticism come from, and how did you kind of get past that to make a decision to finally join?
Yeah, great question. I think that the skepticism came from just social media from my own experiences, everybody's trying to sell you something, everybody's trying to deliver something that sounds really appealing really quick. Um, but, me trying all those things, I've tried probably two or three other coaches online. They're like, just follow me, I'll send you the recipes, I'll send you the workouts, and I'll get you into the best shape of your life. And then you look at the um, picture before and after, and you're like, I don't know if I really saw any improvement, and um, it just kind of snowballs into another potential negative event. And then, so when I bought a tonal, I took your program and I really liked the way you did it. I really liked I guess the organized fashion at which you put programs and at which you kind of detailed out the workouts and like methods of lifting, etc. And I honestly don't even know how I got into contact with you, but I think I just reached out to you myself, cold called you and said, hey, tell me more about this, And then when you told me about it, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty skeptical, especially just considering the amount of time and cost and all that stuff. But um, I just kind of went with it and I said, I'm pretty skeptical. If I don't like it, then I'm just going to tell you I don't want to keep going. And you were like, okay, that sounds cool. I mean, just put in the effort and you'll see success. And if you don't, then, it's on me, and I appreciate you taking ownership for that. And it's been nothing but absolute, joy. It's not, Coach Jackson is not only a, workout guru, fitness guru, but he is a mindset, which I think is way more important than anything right now, especially this day and age.
It uh, it gets me a little like emotional and excited all at the same time because when you came into the program, you were really skeptical and you did have a lot of limiting beliefs, and it frustrates me because I just want to like grab you and shake you and like tell you what I see when I look at you and how I know that you're selling yourself so short. And I want to be like, gosh, Alex, you can do this. I'm telling you, like, all you have to do is like follow the plan and execute. And if you just listen to me, it's going to happen. But of course, that's not the best way of influencing people. So we had many conversations, but eventually you came over to the dark side, if you will, and it's been such a joy to watch you kind of blossom and grow and mature into this just awesome human being that you are today. Not that you weren't awesome before, but just physically, mentally, you're just dialing in on all cylinders, and it's been such a joy, man. I'm so happy and excited for you, and I'm just so proud of you, and it's just an incredible joy. So I appreciate you trusting me, and I appreciate you obviously joining the program and investing in yourself. But let me ask you this: how were things maybe a little bit different? And you don't have to name specific programs or anything, but how was our program maybe different than other people's? Because like this worked and other things didn't. So why did this work?
Yeah, so I know this is going to be on social media or YouTube somewhere. And so whoever's watching this, I want them to know that number one, definitely go with Coach Jackson. I really, I hands down would trust this guy again to do this. And I'm still, going to keep progressing with him. But two, there's a quote that I heard. It's complexity is the enemy of execution. And I think that one of the biggest things that I noticed in previous types of trainers or online things is that the complexity came in um, the lack of structure. So a lot of these other programs have a lack of structure and a lack of follow up and a lack of accountability and a lack of data. And so that makes it so complicated and complex for the person to progress, and so they can't execute what they need to. You took all that away. I mean, you're able to actually program in a tonal, or you're actually able to send someone who doesn't use a tonal the exact workouts that they need. You're able to give a example of a diet. You're able to give kind of macro ratios. You're able to do weekly feedback. You're able to tell us, hey, I need pictures every week. I need measurements every week. This is the only way we can have the data, and it makes things so easy because um, it's just like, okay, I know this week I got to take a picture. This week I got to enter my macros. This week I got to, take my measurements. This week I got to do my workouts. And then I follow up with Coach Jackson, and then we see where we're at. So the complexity is gone. It's just really simple. Everything's so simple. It's laid out. And then you're able to execute so much more, and you're able to see results so much better too.
Yeah, you're right. Complexity is definitely the enemy of execution. And really the only way I've gotten to this point where I've been able to simplify things as simple as they are was because when I first started, I remember my first client, and he's actually done an interview for me. His name's Christoph. If you go to the archives, you can watch the interview. But what's really interesting is I remember he's like, okay, I want to get single digit body fat and six pack abs. And I'm like, fantastic. Here's the 75 things that I'm doing right now: intermittent fasting, take all these supplements, work out 2 hours a day, do this, do that, eat this food, do that, do this. And he's like, I have a job and a wife and like a family. Like, I can't do all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. You mean you can't dedicate your entire life to this? And we have to figure out a way of fitting this into your actual life? Oh, that's going to be a challenge. So it was through that process of realizing that I actually didn't know how to coach people and get people the results. And so many of the gurus or experts or other things that are out there on Instagram and other places, they've gotten themselves great results, but they haven't gotten other people great results. And through getting other people great results, you realize very quickly what works, what doesn't, and what actually works for real people who have families and children and wives and husbands and jobs and careers and aren't able to just dedicate their entire lives to working out. So it was an elimination process that I had to go through of saying, well, this really moves the needle. And maybe if I start here and I do this, and if I change this, wow, people really respond better here. And oh, that didn't work. The adherence rate is very low on that. So let's switch that. And it was through that process that I was able to really narrow down things to the things that really move the needle, that really work, and what's the right order of operations. And I still believe we have a long way to go, and we're just getting started. But we've gotten to a pretty good point, at least at this stage. So that's fantastic. Now, a couple of things that were particular to you that I want to speak to you about and get your take on was, I remember you said that a big breakthrough was that you get to work out. This was huge for you. Walk me through that process. What was that like? Where were you at before? Where were you at then when you're like, oh, all of a sudden I get to work out and this feels different to me? What was that mindset shift like, and how did you make it?
I don't, I don't. That's a great question. I think that I've always liked to stay active, but I think that there have been some mornings where you get up and you're like, oh, I don't want to work out, or I don't want to, do X, Y, and Z. But I think at a certain point, it clicked in my body or in my mind where I was like, I'm just so glad or blessed that I can go work out right now. I'm glad I can get this done. I'm glad that I can, you know, do something, invest for my body for this 30, 45 minutes of time, and then move forward, because we try to invest, or we should try and invest in ourselves. And then we should try to, invest into those who we love. And so, but I think, again, I'm kind of like a big proponent now, as I've journeyed in my life. a lot of the things that are asking for our attention is invest in my, material product, invest in my, thing that may not make you happy at all. But I liked Coach Jackson, and I like you, Coach, because you don't only just have us say, okay, um, I guarantee you this in 4 months, and then you're done. You're like, this is an investment for the rest of your life, guys. Like, I'm Coach Jackson, and I'm still working out. I'm still showing you guys weekly what I'm doing. And so it really enlightened me, and I think that's where I was like, I get to be working out, but I also get to be working out with like this guy, I with his like, his group and the people he's around. And I think it's very important to surround yourself with like-minded people and successful people and people you want to be like, so that you can just keep growing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I never really understood the value of community, I think, until I joined the gym Diacati Body in San Francisco, which was the first gym that I trained in person at. So I went from being a software architect or engineer to then quitting that, getting certified, and saying, I want to do something in fitness, but I didn't know what. I'm in San Francisco. I moved there because I'm like, okay, San Francisco people are they're into this. There's also a lot of tech there. So I used to be a software person. I figured I could connect with people. So I'm thinking this is going to be a good place to me. There's also obviously startups everywhere, so I could possibly do consulting. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. And somebody's like, "Well, you should go over to this gym called Diacati. There's a ton of great trainers there." I'm like, "Okay." So I just went up and went over there. Went on their website, checked it out, went over the walk over there, and the woman at the desk is like, "Oh yeah, we have a bunch of independent trainers that work here." And I was like, "What's an independent trainer?" She's like, "Well, they're trainers that run their own businesses, and then they have their own clients, and they get paid to train them." And I was like, excuse me? I didn't even know that was a real profession, because I had been in LA Fitness and 24 Hour and all these gyms where they just have trainers that work there, part of the staff. They make $15 an hour or whatever. And I mean, no offense to anybody that does those jobs, but usually people who are in the gyms that are really serious about training, they don't hire those people because they don't think that they know anything. So I was like, this is a real profession? And she's like, yeah. And I said, well, how much are these people charging? And she's like, anywhere between 100, usually on the very low end, to up to $200 an hour. And I said, what? I was like, this is crazy. And people are paying this. She's like, oh yeah. I said, how much do these people make, the coaches? And she's like, everybody here is making probably six figures who's training full time. And I couldn't even believe my ears. I was just like, I need to be in this place, because I had never heard of this profession before. There's all these people there that are doing it. And once I was able to get my foot in the door at the gym and kind of get some clients there and start working there, I learned so much from so many people, and my growth and my progress was so rapid. And just being around people who were talking about entrepreneurship and running their own business and how to manage their taxes and their finances and clients and marketing and sales, all these things that I was very unfamiliar with. I was a fish out of water, and all of these people were constantly throwing me life rafts and helping me. And it was unbelievable. My growth was so incredible. And that's learning the value of community through that experience was like why I knew I needed to build a community at some point with my business. Now, it took many years to really get it to the point it's at now. But as you know, the community is so impressive. And I really do feel that if you want an outcome or a result, the best, fastest, and most reliable way of getting there is to join a group where that is the norm, because it's going to immediately raise your game. It's going to open you up to possibilities. You're going to start removing barriers mentally, and you're going to have all of these incredible insights from people, knowledge and education that you never would have had before. So I agree with you a lot there. That's fantastic. Now, one other thing that I wanted to kind of bring up specifically, and then we'll talk a little bit more about just the results and the transformation, and everything. But trusting the process was big for you, right? Because again, you came in, you were a little skeptical, a little bit like unsure about how this was going to go, and I kept telling you, you got to trust the process. You're executing, you're tracking things, you're doing everything right. It's going to work. Have a little bit of faith and just execute. And when we look from start to finish, your photos look incredible. And even you, I remember, posted on our Facebook group, and you told somebody else, you said, trust the process. If you look at my photos from start to finish, it's incredible. But there were some times where from one photo to the next or something, it's not that dramatic. What was the mindset like? How did you manage to overcome this challenge? Because most people, they work out on the tonal, they maybe change their diet for a week, and they go up. There's no results. Throwing in the towel. It's not working. Or maybe they do it for 2 or 3 weeks, but they struggle to see the success, and they feel like they're spinning their wheels. How did you get to the point where you're able to execute for a long period of time? You're able to stay patient and follow the process. How did you do that?
I think that one of the reasons is because obviously it's a program that we pay for, right? So you invest in yourself, and then you're waking up, you're like, I'm paying for this. I want to make this pay off, number one. Number two, you have people in the group that are still, other than Coach Jackson, that are still very motivational and like will still allow you to, be like, I've been there, I've been where you are. Just trust the process. Like, he's not lying. He's not, just blowing smoke. He's the real deal, and just trust the process. And then you have people like you who will do the weekly reviews and be so like motivational and just kind of help with the mindset that sometimes we get into like these deep holes, and you're able to kind of not only get us out of the holes that we think of, but also give us another tool to get through the other week, which has helped me tremendously. I mean, I've made it literally a goal this year to read a book a month just because of how much I know you read. So like it's just inspired me in different ways to kind of improve my life. And so but I think that's kind of been the process. It's been involving myself, asking questions, being involved, being super active, not suffering in silence like what you say all the time. So those that join this program, just know that there's members like me that you guys can always reach out to, and be happy to help and give you my experience. But like what you said, I it's on the group, and I've posted it before. You can literally see from week 1 to 16, it changed from like a little bit and then like nothing for a couple weeks, and then just boom, just change. And I mean, that video is pretty cool.
Super cool. It's unbelievable, and obviously the visual success and physical changes are dramatic. And that's the thing, is that from day to day, even maybe even week to week, it's going to be very difficult sometimes to really see much progress. But you just have to be diligent about what you're doing. You have to focus on what you can control, which is the execution of the daily disciplines and tasks. And as long as you're tracking some quantifiable metrics, photos, weight, body fat, body measurements, strength score, of course. If you're tracking these things, keeping a rough idea of them weekly, bi-weekly, maybe even monthly, then we're going to see some changes. And if we don't, we're going to make some adjustments. So either we see the progress, it gets motivating and it drives us to keep going, or we pivot, make a little adjustment, and now we're back on track. So that's why it's important to do those things. But to your point, you have to figure out a way of playing the mind game to just keep yourself going. And it really is sometimes just chunking down. And it's not, man, can I get through this month, or can I get through this week? It's like, can I get through this set? Can I do the next 5 reps? I can do the next 5 reps. Okay, then you do 5 more. And my wife, she just started reading The Obstacle is the Way, which is a fantastic book by Ryan Holiday. And it's one of my favorite books. I've read it about 10 times now. And the biggest takeaway she had was this particular point: trust the process. And in the book, he talks about Nick Saban, who just actually retired, I believe, today. And Nick Saban says, don't worry about winning the national championship or the SEC championship. All you need to focus on is doing your job for 7 seconds. If you could just do that, then we're going to eventually get to that point. And if you could just track this one meal, okay, now move on to the next thing. Get 8 hours of sleep. Okay, now move on to the next thing. Drink your water, right? And all these things compound and add up. And then all of a sudden it just snowballs. The next thing you know, you look at your photo and you go, whoa, what happened? This is incredible. And that's how it works sometimes. It really is a snowball effect of just adding all these little wins and building and building and building and building and building. And then next thing you know, it's there you go. And then the photo looks, it pops, and you're just like, I made it. It happened. And then, of course, the next mountain comes up and you say, now I got to go climb the next thing. So, well, when you look at your journey and kind of where you started, I guess, where were you at mentally at that point when you first started? I know you were a little frustrated and stuff, but I want to make the transition from where you were to obviously where you're at now. So talk me through kind of where you were, what you were doing. I know obviously you're using the tonal, you're working out, you've done some of my workouts. Um, Maybe, I don't want to steal your thunder or put words in your mouth. So tell me more about where you were at that point.
I think we were using total pretty consistently. I think that I think that I don't know why, but it just never clicked to me the metrics aspect, tracking your progress in some way, shape, or form. And so I think that that was one of the huge things that helped me excel when you kind of taught me that, you got to track how much weight you're doing, how are you improving, whether it's through your measurements, whether it's through how much weight you lift, whether it's, how your duration of your workout, whatever, how are you improving and how can you track that? I would be doing workouts in the 4 week programs or whatever, but then I'd just be like, okay, well, I did it. That's I star on my back, I pat on my back. It was great, but just the tracking. And then the diet, you were able to lay it out in such an easy way that wasn't restrictive. A lot of diets are saying you got to eat this and this and this every day or like pretty regularly, and then you're good. But I still eat foods I enjoy. I still eat foods that, are good. I'm more aware and conscious about them, but I, still enjoy them. But I also still keep everything kind of within my calorie count that I need to do and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but you just kind of laid it out with like it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal, and you can maintain this in an easier way. And then lastly, I think just you being real about it's a lifelong journey. Like, you never like say your 16 weeks is over, you're good forever. You don't have to do anything else. Get back to eating pizza, get back to drinking soda, stuff like that. I think that helped me with, going from frustrated to feeling more successful about myself, just knowing what's ahead, knowing the end from the beginning kind of thing. Okay, like Coach Jackson's like X amount of years ahead of me. He's still working out. He's still showing me how to do these things. He's still eating this way. Okay, that's my mindset. Like that's what I want. That's what I want to look like him. I want to, get those habits, part of my life. And so it kind of helped me see an example, a good example, the best example. And so that's why I've been able to change my mindset there.
Fantastic. I love it. And I appreciate the honesty and the insights. And I think you're right. You can't be super restrictive and you can't be very hard on yourself, because the harder you are on yourself, the less likely you are to follow through. You have to really think of it like you're trying to influence or motivate somebody else. How would you do it? You wouldn't do it by coming down on them, by being super restrictive and hardcore on them. You'd probably get them to influence and move in the direction you want with a little bit of positive reinforcement, with guiding them in a direction, but not being so rigid about things. And when it comes to the diet, yes, we want to improve overall and we want to consistently grow and make things better, of course. And we want to find healthier alternatives if we can. We want to reduce the amount of highly processed foods we eat just because it's going to be easier. So we want to stack the deck in our favor. But of course, occasionally you can have things. I like pizza. I eat pizza once a week. I was just in Paris with my wife for Christmas. We drank champagne. We had pizza. We had a lot of incredible foods. Before I jumped on this call with you, I had 2 protein waffles with egg white and turkey sausage as like a sandwich, like a waffle sandwich. The macros were actually pretty good on it because it was protein waffles, it was turkey bacon, and it was egg whites. So it was super high protein, pretty moderate in carbs and a little bit of fat. It's like that was fantastic. That tasted really good, actually, and it still fit in my macros, and it was like great, fantastic. So we have to figure out ways that we could manage this moving forward, because you want to keep your results, of course, but you also have to understand that you're going to be eating food for the rest of your life. So if you try to do one thing that's going to get you to an outcome and then go back to the way you were doing it previously, you're not going to long term get the results. You're obviously a business owner, and this, you'll probably love this analogy. I can't brush my teeth every day, show up at the dentist, get a clean bill of health, and then say, great, I'm done. I don't need to brush anymore.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So you still got to maintain, you still got to brush. It has to be part of your lifestyle. And it gets easier, not because it gets easier, but because you get stronger and better and you get more disciplined and you grow those sort of muscles. But yeah, it is absolutely a lifelong journey. Your body is the only one you get. You got to take care of it, and you got to take care of it forever. And I'll
Amen
say
to
one
that.
more thing, and then I'll shut up and ask you another question. But I got my first weight set when I was 5, and then that was because I wanted to work out with my dad. And a couple weeks ago, I went home and visited him, and he's 76 now, and I'm 41. So we're like 36 years later. And I worked out with my dad again. We went to the gym together. And the reason he's able to do this and he's so active and he's not on any meds or anything is because he works out like 5 days a week. You don't have to work out 5 days a week if you're very effective, but he works out like 4 or 5 days a week. He's healthy and diligent on his diet. He eats a lot of good foods. He still eats pizza and he still eats a lot of other stuff too, but he focuses on, he gets his protein in. He makes sure he doesn't go too crazy. He doesn't eat a ton of desserts and sugar. It's like, yeah, makes sense. He's 76 and he's still very active. Um, it was one of those moments where you're just like, God, this is unbelievable. I was 5 years old working out with my dad. Here I am, 41, and we're still doing the same thing. So, tell me, how has this kind of impacted maybe other areas of your life, if it has? Like, you've been on this journey, you've transformed physically. That's unbelievable. People are going to obviously see the photos and be blown away. But how else has this impacted your life, if at all, from a mindset, business, family, relationship, whatever it might be?
Yeah, I think that there's a saying, in the kind of medical or, any population really, anytime there's a need for that patient is attached to a family, that family is attached to a community, and that community is attached to an environment. And so for me, what your impact has been on my needs, which is fitness, is um, my wife has supported me, and she's even changed her eating habits in a way that has been incredible. She's prioritized more vegetables. She's prioritized protein. She's been more conscious about, macronutrients, so like carbs and calories, stuff like that. My kids, I've been able to teach them over the dinner table. These are the important, essential things of like, instead of going from carbs, protein, then vegetables. We're doing like vegetables, proteins, and carbs. That's, here's your plate. What is this? Oh, dad, that's chicken. That's a protein. Okay, great. Dad, what is this? Son, what's this? This is a carrot. What's that? A vegetable. Okay, what is this over here? That's potato. That's a carb. Great. So I teach them that so that they learn because they're young. I mean, I want them to learn. I have my kids, I know they're already active with like their little sports, but my daughter today, for example, she's like, Dad, look, I'm doing burpees like you do, and she's 5, and she literally knows how to do a burpee. And they do push-ups. They're always wanting to stay active. And in my mind, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. 5 and 7-year-old, even my 2-year-old pretends like he does push-ups like this. And they're just, they see that, but I'm active. I stay on your schedule for working out. My wife stays on that same schedule. She's like, well, Alex is doing this, I want to do this too. So she works out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, she kind of basically does the same kind of intervals that I do. And I never asked her to do that. I never told her this is what you need to do. She's decided to do that on her own. So it's really affected all of us here. But not only that, but even in my offices, like what's been incredible is the staff is now buying healthier things. I didn't even ask them to. I see kale every now and then. I see carrots. I see, less processed foods. I've seen protein bars. And I've seen the single pack cashews, single pack almonds that they buy, and it's been incredible to see. And I've honestly been surprised when we do staff lunches. They're like, which salad do you want, or which meat do you want? They're not asking me for, the normal sandwiches I used to buy, or just get pizza all the time, or whatever. And so that's been incredible to kind of see. Again, I've never asked them to do anything. I just told them, hey guys, I have this coach. I am doing certain things. So if you guys don't see me in the break room as often eating, chips or candy, that's probably why. And it's been a huge effect, and I've been grateful for you.
Wow, Alex, I'm grateful for you in that story you just said. That is a mic drop moment, and that really warms my heart. So incredible, because what you're doing is you're setting your kids up for such an incredible success with their health and their fitness. It's generational health you're setting up, and then they're going to teach that to their kids, and so on and so forth. And it starts with you, my friend, in leading by example, setting that example for other people. And I say this all the time, but your journey is so much more important than you think. And you don't have to tell people, you don't have to, strong arm them into it. You just do it. You lead by example. Other people see and they say, wow, that looks cool. Wow. Oh my God. I want to try that now. And they try it, they like it, and then they do it. And it just has this ripple effect on all the people around you. And again, I've seen it in my life with my dad. I've seen it on me. I've seen it on so many other people in my family, in my life. My wife never used to lift weights. She used to do yoga and spin until she met me. And now she works out and people are like, my gosh, her form is great. She's amazing. Like, holy cow. And I didn't tell her to lift weights. It was just that influence of, oh, you're lifting weights. Oh, let me try it. I want to work out with you. Let's see. And gosh, it's just incredible. What an impact you're having. Thank you so much, my friend. Not just for doing this interview, just for all your hard work, for being such an awesome father and a business owner and an influence and everything. You're an incredible human being, and I'm just really thankful that our paths have crossed and that you've put so much into this, and it means so much to me because you're having such an impact on the world, and that's just such a beautiful thing. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that greatly. I couldn't have done this without you and your group. I couldn't have done this without my wife, without the support of our kids. Just them seeing, my wife and I work hand in hand, working out and stuff like that has, been huge for our home. And I think just I want everybody to know, Coach Jackson is not just about the fitness aspect. He is way more than that. And that's why I think, hands down, he's someone that you should always invest in because the mindset shift, the education, the knowledge him and Coach Emily have, um, it just above and beyond. I think customer service is number one in business, and you have a great customer service. And I think that that is what will continue to achieve success in you.
Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Any last words for anybody else out there?
Yes. Make sure to contact Coach Jackson. Make sure to sign up with him if you have any doubts. You can put it on me. You can call me and be like, "Hey, Alex, are you for real? I'll show you everything I do." I mean, there's no line here. I just want to make sure y'all, get the best, and he is the best.
I appreciate you. Well, Alex, it was an absolute pleasure. Down 18 pounds, 11% body fat, gained 4 pounds of lean mass, and took 3 inches off your waist. But more importantly, man, the physical stats are incredible. The photos are incredible. The mindset shifts, the leader you are, the example you've set, the inspiration to not just so many people in our Facebook community and online and everything, but to your family, your friends, your neighbors, the people that work for you and work around you. Incredible, my friend. Thank you for doing this. Thank you again. I appreciate you. And remember, everybody out there, action is the difference between dreaming and succeeding. So take action.